Happy Saturday, ladies, fellas, wherever you are watching from. Welcome to the Life After Her podcast. It is yours truly, Nicole and Sweeney. We have officially made it to part 4 of our Single Women series, and today's episode is entitled Where is My Boaz? Quality traits to look for in a kingdom husband. If those of you who are watching for the first time, we've been doing a single series for women in the month of March to encourage women that are single and to debunk some of the myth that society has said about women and singleness, as well as to encourage women while on their single journey. And today's episode, we are officially wrapping up with myself, yours truly, as today's speaker. So if you are watching, please let me know where you are watching from so that I can shout you out. Greetings, Vanessa. Thank you for joining. I hope you are doing well. Hey, Lee. Thank you for joining. I hope you are doing well. We are so excited about today's last session. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm an author, podcaster, and empowerment speaker. And one of my favorite and absolute things to do is dance. All right. So there's that about me. Hey, Jessica, thank you for watching in. Greetings all the way from Georgia. Thank you all so much for tuning in. If you can share this broadcast, that would be great. All right, y'all, let's dive into it. Let's see what today's session is going to discuss. Yes, Jersey in the building. Yes. Jersey all day. So, as I was preparing for today's broadcast, for today's lesson, I started to think back on my teenage through adult years and some of the traits I used to look for in men. The qualities I sought after in my early years was shaped by my friends, my culture, society, and what I thought was important. And to be quite frank with you all, my maturity level. Now, those same traits are shaped by a different element. It's shaped by God, it's shaped by my past mistakes, and it is shaped by my future. So, what about you? What are some of the traits that you look for in a significant other or looked for in a significant other when you were a teenager growing up until now? Was there any variation? Did it stay the same? Did it change? Did it grow? Did it get better? Did it get worse? These are some of the questions that I think are important for us as we go into today's lesson. Good evening, Shakira. Thank you for watching. As I look back over those years, I also realized that early on, I wasn't taught how to look for and discern quality relationships in my friendships, in my romantic relationships, and even myself. I had a very hard time picking out and understanding what quality relationships or quality traits look like in a person. And unfortunately, that led me down a path to a lot of mistakes when I was selecting different suitors to be in my life. As a result, I didn't always have the best relationship experience, and it caused me a lot of unnecessary heartache. But thank God over the years, I've matured, I've learned, and I had to pay attention to my intuition and to those that gave me wisdom. What are you guys' thoughts about that? Have you ever, in just your walk of your personal life, had a shift in how you saw relationships when it came to your friendships, a romantic partner, work relationships, any relationships that you might have. Did it change over the years? Did it stay the same? What do you guys what has been your experience? Let me know in the chat so that we can have some conversation around this. Before I go into some of the qualities we should look for in a kingdom husband or a kingdom pursuit or in healthy relationships, I want us to ask ourselves some questions. Before we can even discern quality traits to look for, we must know what quality traits we want in a significant other. And I'm pausing right there because we really need to ask ourselves that question. And I see that Lee answered one of the questions, and I love what she said: peace of mind. I think that is a very important quality to have when looking for a significant other. Peace of mind is important. We don't want anybody stressing us out. We don't want anyone adding drama to our lives, right? Because life is stressful as it is. We don't need someone who is going to be in our lives to add any extra stress. So, peace of mind is an excellent quality. Thank you for sharing, Lee. Jessica says, yes, maturity has definitely changed what I wanted in a relationship. Yes. So as you grow, as you develop, as you experience, you really begin to change the way you look at relationships, the way you entertain relationships, right? Because sometimes we don't know the person that well at the first stages of that relationship or that experience. But over time, as we mature and as we develop and as we become better version of ourselves, we desire to seek out better qualities in a relationship. Jessica also adds, it was money. Now it's someone who is trustworthy. I love that. Yes, before I think money is a very important component when it comes to doing relationships as well. But I think when you look at money in a healthy way, that's okay. But yes, someone who is trustworthy is very important. Thank you for adding that to the conversation, Jessica. Yeah, it was money for me too when I was younger. Yes, 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 yes. It's not always about the money, right? Again, money is an important component when it comes to relationships. Of course, you want someone who is responsible with money, someone who is trustworthy with money, like Jessica was using the word trustworthy. And you also want someone who has a understanding of money, right? Because you need money to operate a relationship or do things in a relationship. And so it's good that you develop that insight as you got older, and it's not always about money. You're absolutely right. Woo, Shakira, loyalty is very important. I think that is probably top tier for me when it comes to relationships of any kind, work relationships, friendships, romantic relationships. Loyalty is so, so very important. I love that. Thank you for sharing, adding that to the conversation, Shakira. Very true. Okay. So I'm going to ask you guys a series of questions that I really want you to make note of and take with you when you are meeting your next suitor or your next job experience or your next friendship or that family member. Y'all, qualities should be across the board. Healthy qualities, good qualities, again, should be across the board, no matter who it is. You can also ask these questions based on your current relationship. So, like I said, your family, your significant other, your friends, your coworkers, and even business relationships. So here are the questions. Are y'all ready for the questions? If you guys can write this in the chat, that would be great. The first question you need to make note of for yourself when it comes to these quality relationships are: number one, how would I define quality relationships for myself and not based on what other people have said? How would I define quality traits for myself and not based on what others have said? Sometimes we can be influenced by those around us, and that is not a bad thing all the time. And I think it's important to be surrounded by those who have wisdom and who have your best interests at heart. However, it's also very important that you define what quality relationships look like for you, because it's going to be different for everyone. One person may think quality traits in a relationship is not 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 having a lot of money. To the next person, money may be a big deal to them. Another person may think, oh, spending quality time with a person isn't that significant to me, but another person may think otherwise. So you have to define what quality traits are important for you, right? The second question: what do I need to feel emotionally, mentally, physically, socially, and spiritually safe? Now, this is probably one of the most important questions that you should ask of yourself. Because in order for you to know what makes you feel safe emotionally, mentally, physically, socially, and spiritually, you will have to determine whether or not the person that you are entering this relationship with, whether it's family, romantic, or friendship, you have to determine whether or not they have these qualities. Okay, so that is very important for you to determine what that looks like for you. Vanessa contributed to the conversation by saying, for me presently, I seek a man with character, has a good relationship with money, with the money he makes, the relationship he has with himself, and how he treats others. Wow, that is so very powerful. I think all those traits are very important to look for in a healthy relationship. And guess what, y'all? You could have more than one trait that you're looking for. It doesn't just have to be limited to one thing or two things. If you have 10 to 20 traits you're looking for, 20 to 30, 40 to like however many traits you are looking for in a healthy and quality relationship, that's okay. And the thing that I love about what Vanessa said is character, right? Character is who a person is, who they are on a consistent basis, and they never change no matter the experience, the situation, or the atmosphere. So thank you for adding that to the conversation, Vanessa. I think those are very important. The third question I want us to take note of and ask ourselves: what qualities does this person or man have that makes me feel safe and secure? What qualities does this person already have that make me feel safe and secure? And the reason why I worded that question that way is because we cannot go off of potential. We can't say, oh, maybe they can grow into that person, although we all are a work in progress and all of us have room to grow. We cannot make decisions based on their potential, because potential is not a guarantee. So, what traits or qualities does this person has already that makes me feel safe and secure. I think a good question, or a good example rather, that I can think of is my sisters and actually a friend of mine who's on this broadcast now, Vanessa. I don't think I have ever felt unsafe or uncomfortable with sharing a mistake that I may have had or an issue that I'm having. And so I use that example because they already have it built in to who they are and their character of what I need for me to feel safe in their presence. So make that a mental note in your mind. What qualities does this person already have that makes me feel safe and secure? The opposite of that would be if the person that you are doing a relationship with or dating or just experiencing is extremely judgmental. They cut you off when you are trying to share your experiences with them. They're dismissive. They don't validate your feelings. So, you want to look for those qualities that they already have that make you feel safe. Thank you for writing the questions. Yes, Lee, good communication is very, very important. And as we are talking about these questions, good communication also comes in with how we communicate with ourselves. So that is very important. Yes, we can't make decisions based on someone's potential. Yes, thank you for sharing. Understanding. Yes, I love that. Someone who is non-judgmental and someone with an open heart. I love that. Someone with an open heart. All right, y'all. The fourth question I want you to take note of is, what traits do I have that make others feel safe and secure? Right? We are talking about the other person with the rest of the questions, but I wanted to add a question for us to also self reflect on what we're bringing, the energy that we're bringing to the relationship, because I believe that when you show up a certain way, that's what you receive. So I want you to ask yourself, what traits do I have that makes others feel safe and secure? The next question is, what traits does this person have that doesn't make me feel safe and secure? So if we're able to identify traits that do make us feel safe and secure, we also have to identify traits that do not make us feel safe and secure. So make a mental note of that as you evaluate your relationships and the relationships you may enter into later down the line. Question number 6. If this person never changes or grows, do I see myself staying with this person long term? And that is a real question that you have to ask yourself, right? If this person doesn't do the work to change, doesn't do the work to become a better version of themselves, who feels like they may be perfect and nothing is wrong with them, do you see yourself staying with them long term? Question number 7. When I am in this person's presence, how do I feel? When I am in this person's presence, how do I feel? I really want us to begin paying attention to our bodies when we are in the presence of people, because your body tells you what's going on before your mind could evaluate what is happening. So, when you have a feeling of anxiety or nervousness or a sense of peace or calmness or excitement, pay attention to what your body is telling you, because it will tell you a lot about that person. And I am not setting this up to be extra judgmental, to be overly critical of other people that come into your presence. But I think there is something to be said about how our bodies feel in certain experiences and around people. Just pay attention to that feeling and make sure you pray about it for discernment. Yes, body language is a real thing. Listen to it. Absolutely. Thank you, Jessica. Question number 8. Do I possess the same qualities I require of others? So, as you guys were saying, trustworthy, being non judgmental, being a good communicator, being a person of character, having an open heart, right? All of these qualities were excellent that you guys named. However, do you possess those qualities? That is the real question you have to ask yourself. And if you don't possess those qualities, it's okay. Just do the work in order to become a better version in that particular area. Okay? Question number 9. Can this person's qualities make me a better person for my future purpose and destiny? This question is probably one of my absolute favorite questions because it speaks to the person or the individual that we will become later in life. Who we are is not all that who we are. We have so much hope in us, so much potential in us to grow, to develop, and to become a better version of ourselves if we do the work. And so, with that question in mind, and before I go into my next statement, I believe that God has more for each of us. God has more blessings that He has for us. He has levels that He wants to take us up in. He does not want us to stay where we are. And God has so many things in our future that He wants to give us. So I am confident that you will not stay the same person. And with that being said, the individuals that you will have in your life or currently having in your life, does their qualities make you a better person or do they make you worse? Or do they bring out the worst in you is what I'm trying to ask you. So that's an important question you have to ask yourself. And question number 10, does this person currently and consistently exemplify the quality traits I desire and am looking for in a kingdom husband or a partner? Let me ask that question again. I'm going to say that question again. Does this person currently and consistently exemplify the quality traits I desire and am looking for in a kingdom husband or a partner? Okay. So when you are asking yourself this question of this person, are they consistent and do they currently have these traits? Because sometimes when we're in the dating experience or early stages of the relationship, people can show up as a representative and they can show you who they are in that moment, but who are they really? Who are they on a consistent basis? And if the person that they are showing you currently, is that something that they can uphold over a period of time? Or is it something that's just that they're just trying to show you to impress you and to get you to like them? All right. So those are the 10 questions I want you guys to really ponder about and ask yourselves with the current relationships that you have to determine the traits that this person possess and for you to be able to discern accordingly. Okay? Now, let's go into today's lesson. We got those questions out of the way. And right now, I want to highlight a biblical man that I feel was a really good example of being a kingdom husband. And his name was Boaz. Boaz was married to Ruth in the book of Ruth. If I had to summarize that particular biblical book, it would be a love story that ended too soon, but turned into God's miraculous power of divine connection, generational blessings, and obedience. The reason why I love this biblical character, Boaz, is because he possessed a lot of the quality traits as a single man before he even got married to Ruth. For those of you who don't know, the book of Ruth is made up of 4 main characters: Ruth, Orpah, Naomi, and Boaz. All right. So I'm going to give you a quick overview of what the book of Ruth is about. So Naomi was the mother-in-law to Orpah and Ruth. Ruth and Orpah was married to Naomi's 2 sons. Naomi had 2 sons, all right? Naomi was also married, okay? So I'm going to repeat that again in case you guys got a little lost in the translation. So Naomi was the mother-in-law. Ruth and Orpah was the daughter-in-law. All 3 women were married. Boaz was a single man that owned land. He was very wealthy. He was kind, and he knew what he wanted. He was decisive. Then all 3 of those women, Naomi, Orpah, and Ruth, all their husbands died. They all passed away. Naomi, the mother-in-law, she lost her husband as well as her 2 sons. Okay. After the death of all 3 of their husbands, Naomi had advised her daughter-in-laws, Orpah and Ruth, to go back to their homes to start all over again. Orpah, one of the daughter-in-laws, said, okay, and she got out of there. She bounced. But Ruth, on the other hand, she said she wasn't going to leave Naomi, her mother-in-law, and that she wanted to cling to her. All right. So hopefully that gives you guys an understanding of the story of Ruth, the book of Ruth, rather. So Ruth and Naomi began their journey back to Bethlehem, and that is where they stayed. Ruth began working in the field that belonged to Boaz. After Ruth was working, Boaz came over to Ruth, and let me back up for a moment. Boaz came over to all of the women that were working in the field, and he greeted Ruth. All right. Then Boaz went back, to his quarters, to his headquarters, and asked his foreman, his chief, who is that girl over there? He was referring to Ruth. So he was asking who Ruth was while Ruth was working in the field. So here how it goes. So in chapter 2, verse 8, it said, Boaz went over and said to Ruth, listen, my daughter, this is how they talked back in the day. Stay right here with us. when you gather grain. Don't go to any other fields. Stay right behind the women working in my field. So, y'all, let's go into what traits that Boaz exhibited and traits that we can adopt on our own when we are looking for our kingdom husband or in our significant other. Trait number 1, pursuit and initiation. Can you guys write that in the chat? Pursuit and initiation. Boaz initiated the conversation in his pursuit before Ruth did. He made himself known to her when he walked over and spoke to her. I love how Ruth positioned herself and made herself visible to be seen by Boaz. As of recent, society, I feel like, has been encouraging women to shoot their shot or to initiate every interaction with a man they are interested in. And I know I might get some pushback on this, but while this is harmless, what I don't want is for women to feel like they must perform to get a man, which is why it can be a little dangerous with encouraging women to initiate conversation, to pursue the man. And again, I know this is not a popular opinion, and there are nuances to women approaching men or saying hello or expressing interest to a man. However, what I don't want us as women to feel like we have to perform for a man to notice us. Okay. I also don't want women to get into the habit, a consistent habit of initiating every pursuit with a man. For example, and I might get pushed back on this whole idea with women proposing to men. I know we live in a modern society and some things are not as traditional as they once were. And that's okay. Society changes, culture changes, things in life changes. I think that is okay. However, I believe that there are certain things that need to be kept to its natural order. Okay? And let me know you guys' thoughts. If you agree, disagree, let me know what your thoughts are. But as I was reading this chapter, it really, really made me think about just how our culture shares or encourages women to do certain things. And I know I've heard certain people talk about this particular book and how Ruth initiated, but I would push back on that a little bit because the very first interaction between Ruth and Boaz was him approaching her in the field, right? So in chapter 2, verse 9, it said, see which part of the field they are harvesting and then follow them. I have warned the young men not to bother you. And when they are thirsty, help yourself to the water that they have drawn from the well. Again, this is Boaz speaking to Ruth. Okay. Trait number 2 that I believe we should look for in a kingdom relationship or a kingdom husband is generosity and protection. Boaz was very generous and he was a protector based on the verse I just recently read. He did not withhold anything from Ruth. He did not withhold anything that she needed. He was very generous with Ruth. And then he did not expect anything in return. Ruth showed up as her authentic self, and she did not have anything extra to receive. She did not have to do anything extra to receive what she needed. Boaz just naturally wanted to give to her. He was also a natural protector. Not only did he show her protection in their conversation, he also warned the other men not to touch her or cause harm to her. He was the same in private and in public. So his character was consistent. Okay. Next point in chapter 2, verse 10, he says, it reads rather, Ruth fell to his feet and thanked him warmly. Trait number 3, appreciation and gratitude. I think that is very important when it comes to quality traits to look for in a significant other. Someone who is going to appreciate you and show you gratitude. I love how Ruth showed her appreciation for Boaz for his kind gesture. Even while in the dating phase, you can show gratitude for a kind gesture that they do for you. You can especially show it when you are in a relationship. Actually, you should consistently show it when you are in a relationship, because we don't want our significant other to feel like they are being taken for granted. So that should be a mutual pursuit, showing appreciation and gratitude. Most men are natural givers and we naturally receive. Just make sure that there is a balance when we show our appreciation. Throughout the chapters, Boaz continued to observe Ruth and he continued to give to her. In due season, Boaz wanted to take things to the next level. So he knew what he wanted with Ruth. He saw what he liked in Ruth. He admired her loyalty, her diligence, her commitment, her self-control, and he admired her commitment to her mother-in-law, because she had the option of leaving her mother-in-law's side, but she decided to stay with her. And lastly, I loved how Ruth followed the pace of Boaz and she allowed him to lead and pursue her while also being visible and making herself open and available to what he had to offer to her. In chapter 4, verse 1 through 6, it said, so Boaz went to the town and took a seat there. When the family redeemer had mentioned for them to come by, Boaz called to him and said, come over here, friend. I want to talk to you. This is Boaz talking to the other men in the city who had estate, who had wealth, and they were just trying to figure out who was next up for owning a particular land that belonged to, I won't say belonged to, but that Ruth's and Naomi's husband was owners of. So now there's this free land and they're trying to figure out who is the next person in line to own the land. So they sat down together. Then Boaz called 10 leaders from the town and asked them to sit as witnesses. And Boaz said to the family redeemer, you know Naomi, who came back from Moab? She is telling the land that the land belonged to a relative named Amalek. I felt I should speak to you about it so that you can redeem it if you wish. If you want the land, then buy it here in the presence of these witnesses. But if you don't want it, let me know right away, because I am next in line to redeem it after you. So this is Boaz talking to, like I said, the other men about owning this land, because he wanted to know, all right, who is going to be next in line? If not, it's going to be me. So the fourth trait we should look for in a kingdom husband is someone who is a planner and an executor. And I put those two together because it's very easy to plan things and set goals and say, I'm going to do this, this, and this. But I think what's even more important is someone who knows how to execute and carry out that plan that they have. All right. So Boaz did not waste Naomi's time. He did not waste an opportunity, and he did not waste God's instruction on taking the next steps with Ruth. He planned a meeting with the other men in the city to determine if they were next in line to purchase the land from Naomi and marry Ruth. One other man was next in line to marry Ruth, but he couldn't do it because it would interfere with his own estate. So that plan did not fall through. The quality we should be looking for is a man that will do his part to have us in their lives. He should not be passive, nonchalant, or lackadaisical about having you in his life. Boaz was sure about Ruth, and he made sure he made plans for her and he carried them out. He put the work in to have her. He took the lead in every pursuit when it came to Ruth. Okay? The next and last trait I believe we should look for in a kingdom partner is marriage and legacy minded. In chapter 4, verse 13, it reads, so Boaz married Ruth, rather, and took her home to live with him. Again, trait number 5, marriage and legacy minded. Marriage and legacy minded. Boaz was marriage and legacy minded. While everyone has their own path, right? Their own desires in life, be sure you know exactly what it is that you desire. If marriage is a trait that you desire in someone, then you have to ask those questions and you have to discern that. If they don't desire the same thing as you, then don't settle at all. You deserve to have someone in your life that loves you, that will do the work to have you, and that is healthy for you. Thank you, y'all, for tuning in. That is all I wanted to share with you today. I hope that you were able to get something out of today's lesson. Again, let's go over these traits because I want to make sure that you guys really have these traits embedded in our hearts, right? So the first one was pursuit and initiation. The second trait is generosity and protector, right? Someone who's going to protect us physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, socially. The third trait is appreciation and gratitude. The fourth trait is planner and executor, someone who is going to put in the work to have you in their lives and they're not going to be lackadaisical or passive with it, or they're not going to say, I want to go with the flow and just see where things end up or see where things land. No, that is not something that we desire in our pursuit. And then lastly, trait number 5, marriage and legacy minded, if that is your desire. So, again, thank you all for tuning in. I will open up the floor for questions if you guys have them, or comments or thoughts. If you desire to share, just drop them in the chat. And while I'm waiting on questions, I want to, in true fashion, like I did in the previous episode, is leave you guys with an affirmation. Affirmations are transformational. They were transformational for me. And I believe that the words we speak do eventually become our reality. So, what are you guys' thoughts? Any comments? Any comments you want to share? Yes, her his pursuit and initiation. Absolutely. That is so very important. Um and I think, another important thing to note, right? If we are looking at these biblical characters as an example of how we do relationships and what we look for in relationships, Ruth was very committed. She worked, she found purpose, she was able to move in a space of healing and wholeness, because if you guys remember, based on the story, she was a widow. She lost her husband. She didn't allow that to make her bitter or make her feel that there was never going to be an opportunity for her to meet someone else. And so, for those of you, right, who are in a season where you feel like there is not someone else that's going to come into the picture, or you just ended a relationship and you are distraught, just know that God has a way to connect you with the next person. Don't give up. And I think the story of Ruth is just an excellent example of that, because she could have went home like Orpah. She could have said, "Forget this. I'm not doing this. I'm going back home to what's familiar." She could have, blamed indirectly her mother-in-law because those were her sons. She could have had all these different attitudes about what her relationship status was going to look like in the future. But she didn't complain. She went to work. She found purpose. She was diligent in her working towards something. She was just a prime example of hope, right? And just God working behind the scenes. Who would have thought that Ruth will work in a field, right? The same field where she would find her husband, or where she would be found by her husband, right? So, those of you who are single, please do not give up. Do not give up. God knows exactly how to bring that kingdom husband to you, that kingdom relationship. And if you are in a relationship, continue to nurture and develop the relationship you have, because let me tell you guys, being in relationship is such a beautiful thing. We all deserve love. We all deserve to be cherished and be with someone who thinks the world of us. Cherish those relationships. Cherish the relationships you have with your family, your friends, the coworkers, the ones that don't get on your nerves. But I'm joking. But cherish the relationships that you have currently. But for those of you who are single, don't give up. God knows exactly how to bring your kingdom husband or your purpose partner to you at the right time. All right. Vanessa says, "Thank this information teaching was excellent. Thank you so much, Vanessa, for tuning in and for sharing your thoughts on today's topic." Shakira says, "This was amazing and great information. Thank you for all you do, Nicole." Thank you, sister. Thank you so much, Shakira. I appreciate the positive feedback. I really, really do. It goes a long, long way. You guys have no idea. You just taking the time to watch this broadcast when you could be doing a million other things on a Saturday evening. You decided to support me. And so I thank each and every one of you guys. And for those of you who are watching the replay, again, I hope you are encouraged by something I have shared with you. This is something I love to do, and it's a personal journey I'm walking on myself. So while I'm encouraging other women out there, I'm also encouraging myself. All right, y'all, let's see if I can do this affirmation. Let's see. Let's see. Okay. The person I will add to my life will, the person I will add to my life will pursue, my heart. The person I will add, I'm sorry, y'all. This is how I write my affirmation. So y'all get to see a live experience of how I really add, how I do my affirmations. I have to repeat the words and then, like, piece it together. So thank you for your patience. The person I will add to my life will pursue my heart, will overwhelm me with their generosity, me with their generosity, generosity, will overwhelm me with their generosity, and the person I will add to my life will pursue my heart, will overwhelm me with their generosity, and walk a path of marriage and legacy with me. All right, y'all. I think I have my affirmation. Let's see how it sounds. The person I will add to my life will pursue my heart, will overwhelm me with generosity, and will walk a path of marriage and legacy with me. I'm going to repeat that again. The person I will add to my life will pursue my heart, will overwhelm me with their generosity, and will walk a path of marriage and legacy with me. All right, y'all. So this affirmation, you speak it over yourself, you speak it to the relationship that you are looking to have, and just know that eventually, for those of you who are single, God is going to add someone to your life who will pursue your heart, who will overwhelm you with generosity, and who will want to walk a path of marriage and legacy with you. All right, y'all. Any questions before I close out? The person I'm just adding it to the chat. The person I will add to my life will pursue my heart, will overwhelm me with their generosity. Generosity. Thank you, sis. Please don't judge me if I spell anything incorrectly. Generosity and walk a path of marriage and legacy with me. Yes, y'all. We got our episode affirmation. I love the affirmation because they're all action words, right? And they are words that will will add to your life. So take that affirmation with you. All right, let's look at these comments. I love this real-time affirmation. Thank you, Vanessa. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you, Lee. She said, I love it with some hearts. And Malia said, hi, Auntie Cole. Hi, Malia. Hi, my sweet girl. That's my niece who is a baby model. I keep telling my sister to put her in commercials. That girl needs to be a baby model. She's so adorable. All right, y'all. Here's the official affirmation. The person I will add to my life will pursue my heart, will overwhelm me with their generosity, and walk a path of marriage and legacy with me. Oops, that's not a question. That should be a period. Sorry, y'all. Y'all know what I mean. All right, y'all. Have a great evening. I'm going to enjoy the rest of my Saturday. For those of you who celebrate Easter or Resurrection Sunday, have an amazing day tomorrow. I hope you are I hope that you have a wonderful time, whatever way you are celebrating. And there is so many things that have coming down the pipeline and more to come, more to come. So I love y'all. Thank y'all for watching. Thank you, Vanessa. Thank you, Shakira. Thank you, Lee Sween. Happy Resurrection Sunday, sis. Thank you, Jessica, for watching. And thank you to whoever else is watching, because I'm not sure who else is watching. But you guys enjoy the rest of your evening. And remember that God is proud of you. Peace, y'all. Bye. Have a good night.